This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Masters recap weekend. Bow.
Hey, no sound effects. We might get banned.
Yeah.
We have.
Who is it that we hate officially?
I mean, every artist at least point we've featured, I feel like, is in the hate list at this moment.
We don't know who ratted on us?
I think the algorithm may have got us. But yeah, great to bring that up, Nate, as we get into this. Today is Monday, April 14th, and I, Muff, was at the Masters on Tuesday.
You mean you didn't just buy that hat off of Temu?
No, I did not. I didn't know that was an option. This is, special Masters merch from the week. So the only week of the year they sell Masters merch on site.
So, listeners, this is where Muff's gonna just geek out. If this is not the episode for you, if you don't like golf, listen to us next week.
It is. Aside from maybe Alex, as far as this group, this may not be the most exciting for all. But I know that there are some loyal listeners that will be in for the golf and the Masters talk, but we will still talk about some football. We're going to talk about the March Madness, especially the Final Four and the championships, which will include a crowning of our men's and women's tourney bracket challenge champions. And we're going to go some other happenings in the sports world that have been over the past couple weeks, because we took about a week and a half hiatus.
Indeed.
As always, thanks to all those interacting with our contents on socials at SportsJimMuff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
Ding, ding. Get the bell on. Before we get to Masters talk,
don't even... That's because you're not fully participating. See? You just muted yourself again.
Before we get into Masters and golf talk, I think it's worth pointing out that Alexander Ovechkin broke Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal mark, breaking the mark in the same number of games it took Wayne Gretzky to make that mark. For us, where do we think this fits among major sports records? Nate.
It's got to be up there. It was one of those that people didn't think were ever going to be attainable.
It's top 3, top 5, or is that in like the top for
as
you?
Far as like individual accolades, I think it's got to be top 5, because I don't know if it's ever going to be close to being touched again. Just like the Barry Bonds home run record or things like that. Like those things aren't going to be touched.
Well, they might now with Tortito bat.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how close any of these guys are. It's going to take some time.
I don't know.
No.
Barry Bonds it's got an asterisk for me, so I can't put him. I can't even compare those two. Ovechkin, he did the same thing, right? Like, there's no controversy here that they're equal, right?
Well, there's potentially controversy that he's older than he says he is, but that only adds to it, like positively.
Right.
But no controversy about his goals.
And I guess we're saying the league hasn't really changed. Like, it's not like one of those LeBron records where he beat MJ, but the league's different. We can't, throw that spin into it, right?
No, I mean, Ovi did it as good as you could. I mean, what'd you say, Muff? It was same amount of games, and Ovi has one more career goal.
Yeah. So he set the career goal mark in the same amount of games. He just had one more in that same number of games.
I guess the only thing you could pinpoint out would be maybe how many empty net goals they had side by side, but it's still on record as a goal. And as we said in the group chat before, Ovechkin saying, no, I don't want the empty netter to break the record. I want a goalie to be in net. Says a lot about him, too.
So I guess it's up there with, Nolan Ryan, Cal Ripken level record breaking to me.
I would say so, yeah. I mean,
That's where I put it.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I didn't want to see it happen as a Pens fan, or sitting there be rooting for Ovi to get this, it's still pretty remarkable.
So, now if we're all saying this is at the very least top 5, top 10, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Put it in that mark. I think we're all on board. Alex, you on board with that top 10 at the very least?
He has to find the mute button at this point. We should just really count him out.
I don't know.
He's just there for viewing pleasure if you like looking at Alex.
Why is my computer not working? First of all, I'm having technical issues. My mic wasn't turning back on. Second of all, I started talking, you just cut me off, so I stopped talking and just went back to washing my dish.
Anyway, answer the question that was asked.
About whether I think it's top 3, top 5, top 10. I think I'd say top 5 for sure. I think that hockey is one of those sports where you get a little bit of extra credit because of the toughness and the nature of the sport. And like Nate said, it will be a while before anyone touches this record again, just based on longevity of being able to play the game at that level for that length of time and playing it like being that good. I think the game of hockey, I mean, everything's changed a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, like we talk about things like, okay, NFL records, well, now we're playing more games than we used to play. Baseball, okay, a lot of records have asterisks because you found out later on they were doing steroids. Basketball was their, 3-point line at one point. There's a lot of ifs, and I feel like hockey has been pretty consistent over the years, consistently a tough sport. And I agree, as a Pens fan, it sucks that it wasn't a Penguin who did it. It wasn't Sidney Crosby who did this record. He did have a little bit of a record of his own this year, but either way, history was made in a good sport. So good for him.
Is Crosby's record or Ovechkin's records more impressive?
People are going to talk about Ovechkin's more just because it's the one that makes more sense to the layman. Most goals. Versus the whole like points per game kind of thing. But I think you can look at both.
Any other thoughts, Ovechkin?
Bands that make her dance. Does nobody else see that?
What?
Nobody else saw that he does that pre-game or whatever?
Oh, I did. I had no idea what it was, but yeah, I saw it.
Well, that was the only other thing I had to add to Ovechkin.
Okay. All right. There you go. We did something before we got into golf talk. Take that.
Happy, Jim?
Yeah, that was great.
All right. Let's not bury the lead of the actual tournament, so we'll do a brief recap of that before we get into my day at Augusta National Golf Club.
No.
We can't bury the lead on Rory. I can't do that. I can't do that,
think
Jim.
we should. I don't want to talk about... I want to dive into Rory. Let's just get through your tidbits, and then let's talk about the golf that actually happened.
My day actually happened, Jim. It was real.
I know, but let's talk about that. Like, let's do it in sequential order here, because I have tons of questions.
Okay. So, I had tickets for the practice round on Tuesday. So, myself, my father, Baltimore guru Keith, and baseball guru Hugh traveled to Augusta, Georgia, by way of Lexington, South Carolina, for Tuesday's practice round. We drove down on Monday, which was good, great, fantastic that we didn't have Monday practice round tickets because that practice round was cut short by weather, and everybody, players, patrons alike, were asked to clear the grounds at 11:30 a.m., but there was a statement issued later that everybody who had Monday practice round tickets would be refunded the cost of the tickets and will have the first crack to purchase Monday practice round tickets next year.
All right, question.
Yes.
The par 3 thing and the whole kids thing, that happens after these practice rounds?
That happened on Wednesday.
Got it. Okay, continue.
Okay. On the drive down, in the fashion that I think most that know me well would expect, I provided a 3-ring binder for all of the participants in the vehicle that I was driving that included a master's guide. It had about 7 pages with various QR codes, relevant information about our trip, our hotel stay, and course knowledge about Augusta National Golf Club and the Masters tournament itself.
You gave your dad a 3-ring binder with QR codes? You gave your dad that?
I did.
What did he say? I want to know what he said.
Not much. It was the others that usually guided the conversation, and there was participation otherwise.
Yeah,
okay. Like, did he laugh at you?
No, there was no. I mean, the other two did.
Okay,
So,
what are these pictures? They all look the same.
So there were betting odds in there, Alex, just for you. Betting odds for winners. Again, information about our hotel stay, places we could eat once we got there, general information about the course, the traditional menu, Once we were on the course for concessions, big deal there, very big deal there, and just other general information, including testimonials from
I
those
was
that had been there
cracking
before
up when I
us.
saw Keith's social media and saw that because I knew immediately that Muff had made this binder, and I was like, "That's awesome."
So yeah, when they opened it up, it had their ticket, right? It was this whole thing. It was the whole thing. So I did it.
For a second, I thought you were going to say testimonials from others who you have made 3-ring binders for.
No. Friends that I know that have gone to practice rounds before.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, like things we should do, things that we should not do, order of operations, etc., so forth. So the 9-ish hour ride down was spent trying to plot our day. Fair?
I can't believe you handed your father a 7-page binder with QR codes. Like, the QR codes is the cherry on the ice cream here. Like, handing him the binder of things and then QR codes. Like, what was he gonna look at the QR codes with?
He has a phone.
Okay.
It's not like he's living in flip phone world like I used to.
I thought that's where you got it from, was your father.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, but you can't really get those. It costs more to get those than it does to get a regular old smartphone now.
Shout out to Papa Muff. Go ahead.
So we get down there. We get up super early. We're up at 4:30 on Tuesday to get ready for the day. So we make about an hour trip in. We were about an hour north. So we had to drive for about 45 minutes. So about an hour and 15, all said and done, from the time we left the hotel till we were actually parked, which was not the worst experience ever. There's definitely worse things I've been a part of as far as traveling to a location. Once we got there, quite literally the Disney World of golf. Everyone's happy, everyone's excited, everyone greets you, everyone wants to make sure you're having a great time. So again, we get to the course. The gates open a little after 6. Gates opened at 7. So we have to stand in this line. They let you in. It's pretty sweet. I will come back to the fact that Keith got incredibly upset with people that cut in front of us in line. Put a pin in that. Not the first time in the day that Keith got upset with people in lines. But as we go in, it's, this picturesque view. First thing you really see that you're going to remember once you're in there is the driving range. So everything that you see on TV when they look at the driving range, that's like one of the first things that you see when you actually get to the course. Now, there are these other houses, cabins, all these other structures that you may or may not understand what they are if you're walking in, but they'd have a lot of placards there, so you're able to kind of take that in. First person we cross paths with, of note, Annika Sorenstam, LPGA legend, played in some PGA events. We're just walking in. We're getting in line for the gift shop, which is the first thing we did when we got in there, based on the testimonials, was get to the gift shop early, get that out of your way so you can spend the rest of your day on the course.
Cross off the binder. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he didn't bring the binders in with us.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we're not allowed to have phones, and we're only allowed to have a small bag. So
you studied the binder well in preparation.
Correct. You can only have a small bag, no phones, right? You come in with your mind, your eyes, and your thoughts. That's what we come in with. It can be a dark place for some, but so we see Annika Sorenstam. That was pretty cool. She's wearing her green jacket. She is a member of Augusta National Golf Club. And then as we continue walk, look to our left, and I see this large man. And I'm like, I feel like I recognize this person. And I'm sitting there, and I look at Hugh, and I was like, is that J.R. Smith? Former NBA player, now collegiate golfer, J.R. Smith, just walking down the path, just like any other normal human being. Doesn't seem to have any, any people with him, doesn't have any security, just, looks like he's walking by himself. Boop. Popping on down the path, looks like he's just going down to the course. So, before we even get to the gift shop, we see this. Mm-hmm. The gift shop.
Good, yeah.
Longest line of the day. When we got in line, there was a sign that said 30 minutes to shop. That was a blatant lie. We spent every bit of 1.5 hours waiting in line to get into the golf shop. And this was a Disney-type line where they gave you hope many times along the route where you felt that you were about to go in, but then it curled around somewhere else.
Huh. Okay.
right? And this is why it's Disney World, right? There's a lot of hope in that trek. So as we're in line, this is another time where Keith had an experience with people trying to cut in line. So the first time, as I alluded to, as we're waiting to get in, there are two people, right? Because it's almost like, I'm not going to say it's a free-for-all whenever you're getting in line at the beginning, but there's just so many people that they can't post, Master's staff can't be posted in every specific location. So they're snaking the line in and out of like the traffic patterns and like in and out of the parking of the vehicles. These two people just sneak in like 5 people ahead of Keith, which is ahead of all of us, but Keith's the one that notices it. And he immediately just gets entirely too frustrated with the situation and starts making comments about people cutting in line and calling attention, pointing to them at times, staring at them when they're talking about line cutters. So, Keith tries to make it awkward, and I don't think he fails because I don't think these people had any shame. In line for the gift shop, there's a woman who was in line in front of us who they cut off the line pretty much behind us. So they put people in lines for the gift shop in waves, and they cut it off and they like let it sit for 30 to 45 minutes, and they open up like the line at the end again. This woman tried no less than 3 times to get her daughter under the ropes in front of staff to get in the line with her. Each time was met with a, no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. She tried one more time right before we got into the gift shop, and they turned her away again. And each time she was like looking back for her daughter and like ramming her shoulder into Keith. He was not happy about it. So Keith's line cutter people experience, not good.
Gotcha.
So Keith is at like frustration level 9 before we even get on the course. So now I'm worried about what Keith's day is going to look like. This is not Disney World for Keith. We get through the gift shop.
Did you buy anything?
The gift shop is
Look
the
at
only.
his head, Jim.
Yeah.
That's true.
The gift shop is the only place on this course where you actually have to spend any real money. They've got everything you can think of: hats, toboggans, shirts, belts, quarter zips, hoodies, everything. If you name it, they probably had it.
Okay.
Right? Including gnomes, which is the most unique purchase. They have these like small
You can buy
and
one
large
each.
garden gnomes. These are something that you can buy only in that gift shop during that week, and they usually resell for 3 to 5x of whatever you pay for them, which is not much. They're like $40 to $50. So they're not like terribly expensive compared to other things in that area.
Did you get one?
So I did not get a gnome. One, they had
Oh,
sold.
what the hell?
They had sold out.
Oh, okay.
Like, we were one of the first people in there, and they's gone. They like only put so many out a day. Right, so this is a high ticket item. People go in, they want to get them. Now they had smaller gnomes, but those aren't like the prestigious ones, so I wasn't
Right.
super care. I didn't care too much, but you can probably still get some more on the side market for them. So I go in. I'm a dummy. I forgot a belt.
Okay.
Right, everything else in the world don't remember a belt. So I'm like, man, I need to find a belt in here.
You literally have
So I go
binders
through,
filled with trip details.
Well, I was
Correct.
thinking that. What, did you not have a packing list? Belt.
Wasn't on part of the binder?
3-ring binder, number 1. Number 2, belt. Just cross that one off.
No, wasn't on the list.
Okay.
So, however you want to cut it, didn't make my list. The only thing that I forgot that I would have needed. So I go in thinking, okay, I'm going to get a belt.
Alex is paying his bills while we're telling the story. Like, he's literally showing his fucking checkbook. Put that thing off camera, damn it.
Get those
Tax day
numbers.
is
You don't want that, Alex. All right. Tax day is
April 15th.
passed. Oh, you're right. You got 2 days. All right.
Carry on.
So I go in, I get a quarter zip, I pick out a belt, right? I pick out a belt. Important. Go get some other stuff, get a hat, get a toboggan. Me and Hugh sitting in line to get one more thing, and he had also picked up this belt. He looked at me and he said, wait, did you look at how much this belt costs? I said, no. I said, I need one. It was the only one that was there. I picked it up. He said, you might want to look because I think I'm going to put mine back. Guesses how much this belt cost?
300.
$200.
It was a fabric woven
300.
The Masters belt.
$200.
Even 100.
It was
$450.
$185. Keith and I put our belts back, and I said, I'll figure this out because it's not going to be a belt that I like regularly wear in life. So I'm like, I can do without this. So I get a couple flags, Masters flags, get some other like small
He
swag.
then takes the flags, knits them together like MacGyver, and he's got himself a belt.
No, I did not do that. I wish. Got a chair. You can get a camping chair. We'll come back to the camping chair situation. Um, go check out. My total bill is like $350, $400. Not, like I said, the most expensive things in the gift shop. As we're going through, I did not hear this, but Keith told me afterwards. He asked the person he checked out with what was the largest single purchase that anyone had ever made. More guesses.
3,000.
10 grand.
Any guesses from everybody?
10 grand.
I'll double down
I was gonna
with
say
the Harper
12.
household guess.
Okay. 12 grand.
Jesus.
Single individual purchase that was the largest. And that's one person.
That's
Who
like
knows others?
buying
Right? That was
one of
one
her
person
Multiple.
that's buying a lot of shit. And that's not to say they didn't come back later
Right.
that day, right? Because the gift shop, probably easier to get into later in the day when there's not as many people looking to get that done. All right? So we get all these purchases out of the way. You can, if there are options, you can actually check all of your purchases. They have got like lockers that you can rent out for the day. They have a shipping table right beside where
Oh,
you
it's
purchase
Disney.
everything.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is Disney
Yeah.
for golf. 110%. So we get all that squared away, and then we get onto the course. But before we get on the course, we gotta
Wait,
check out the food
wait.
beverage station.
What's your dad buy at the gift shop?
He got like a tumbler. He got a couple hats. Got some ball markers. Yeah, he got what
So
I
he
would
went
have
in.
expected him to get.
Fair enough. That
He
makes
got a
sense.
shirt.
Go ahead.
He got a shirt. Yeah, yeah. He got he got about what I would expect: a shirt, a hat, and some trinkets.
Okay.
All right.
We really need
Next.
him on this podcast. I really, at this point, need him on this podcast.
Food and beverage.
Yep.
Remember how I said gift shops were the most expensive thing?
Uh-huh.
110%. Very reasonable for everything you buy on the course. There was not a sandwich that cost more than $3. They had pimento cheese, pork sandwiches, a club sandwich, breakfast sandwiches. Ice cream sandwich was $4. Beer, $4 max. So you could eat like a king all day if you wanted to. The pimento cheese sandwich, that's the one. That's like the one that people were like, "Oh, you need to make sure you get that." Very good.
Was
Crow's
it in,
Nest. What?
was that in the binder that
Oh,
you
yes, 110% was in the binder. There's a QR code to a video, Sam, about how to experience the food and beverage situation.
I have a friend that's been to the Masters, and she did say that the pimento cheese sandwich is the best thing she's ever had.
I had at least 3 throughout the day.
All right, Muff, go ahead.
Crow's Nest beer, that was like the special beer that is theirs, like their brew. I have 4 or 5 cups because you can take your cups out with you. They're plastic cups. So I've got Masters cups. And after we do that, we do go onto the course. We go, we check out number 1. Remember, it rained a lot on Monday. We're worried what it's going to look like on the course. Guess what? They pretty much threw down all of the, Nate, we'll call it field dry, green field dry, that you could find, especially in the high traffic areas, like where you enter and exit onto the course. So it was just like a crunchy mess, but it was not muddy at anywhere because they also have underground like air systems to help dry it out from underneath, which we could hear on the course if you went by like certain spots. So it was a little damp in the morning, but by the time we left at the end of the day, it was as if it did not rain on the course almost at all. We set our chairs. Remember I said we got these chairs? We set our chairs next to the 18th green. Set them down. Put them out. You can put your name on them. I put a business card in the back of mine because I didn't have anything to write with, but I did have business cards. You set them down. Anybody can sit in them, but if you come back, you can kick people out of your seats at any time.
Okay.
So you set them up and leave, and we did come back to them at the end of the day. Practice rounds. I think anybody here's ever been to one. They are, I would say, more interesting to watch, maybe more fun because the professionals are a little bit more relaxed. They will hit multiple golf balls from various parts on the course. They will putt on the putting green and chip for 10 minutes at each hole. and they will actually set down marks where they expect the pins to be on different days, and they'll just putt to these random spots on the green. And you're like, what the hell are they doing that for? It's like, well, it's probably where they expect one of the pins is going to be. We saw Live and PGA guys. We saw Justin Thomas, Bernard Longer, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Sergio Garcia, John Rahm, Angel Cabrera, straight out the joint. The Canadian folk, Shane Lowry, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, and his wife. We'll get to that in here in a second. Billy Horschel, Lucas Oberg, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Bobby McIntyre, Hideki Matsuyama. We didn't see Scotty. He was in a different part of the course. We didn't get to see him. But we did see some caddies on the course, including Phil Mickelson, who was not out playing, but his caddy was out walking the course and taking notes. We saw some of the ball skipping at 16, which for those that watched any of the Masters on 16, they hit over a little bit of a water. I don't think it's a creek. It's more of like a small pond. They will actually like bait all of the players and applaud them if they try to skip it over onto the green. So we did watch a little bit of that. We saw Rory do that. So, questions, thoughts, Jim, others?
Yeah. You didn't get to the Jenna Sims part. That's what I was waiting on, Muff.
Oh, that's what we're waiting on. Questions about anything else golf related?
Yes. How many holes did you walk to?
So we walked the entire back nine, so 10 through 18. We walked 1. We walked 6, 7, 8, 9. We did not see some like 2, 3, 4, 5. And it just wasn't on a part of the course. And the way that the practice rounds work is they're not scheduled. You don't know who's going out and when. They just randomly say they're going out and they show up. So you have to like find these boards on the course to show whenever they state they have people going out. So there just weren't a lot of people for us to watch on the front nine, so we didn't focus our time there. So we were mostly on the back nine. We sat in the grandstands at 14 for a bit. We were down by like 16 and 15 for a bit. So yeah, we just kind of continuously made a big loop, and then sat down at 14's grandstands periodically.
I have a question.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
When you went to 18 and sat down, at what point in the day was that?
It was at the end of our day. So we're talking like 4:30, 5 o'clock.
So you're sitting there doing what? Watching them
Watching
practice
the
on
last
18?
groups finish.
Okay.
Yeah, watching the last groups come through. Because they play, for the most part, in sequential order. They may not play all 18 holes, but if they start on 10, they're usually going to play 10 through 18. If they start on 1, they're usually going to play 1 through 9. Like, they're going to go in that order. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so we just know when people started and if they started on 1 or 10. Like, that's all we really knew ever.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
you just check in every once in a while, like, oh, who's coming up soon? Should we go back towards 1, or should we stay here and wait for people to come through 10 through 14, 10 through 18? So, Sam?
So people can sit in your chairs.
Correct.
Okay. Now I would have been with Keith with the whole getting pissed off about people cutting line. And I would have been real pissed if I would have come back and found someone sitting in my chairs.
Where's the question?
So, like, was anyone sitting in your chairs when you came back?
Yes.
And you just said, those are mine, move? Like, how did you prove that those were your chairs?
You say it's a gentleman's and a gentlewoman's game, Sam. Everyone, it's honor.
But I'd be like...
Well, remember, Muff would have a business card.
You.
He takes out another business card out
If
of
I needed to. But nobody asked a question. In fact, when we got back and we said, hey, guys, these are our chairs, they said, oh, we were wondering, we've been in these most of the day. Because we weren't there. We did not come back to those chairs until the end of our day. So from like 10 o'clock until 4:30, 5 o'clock, we were not near or in those chairs.
And now you have a master's camp chair to sit in.
You can take it back any other time.
Oh, that's nice.
You could take. I mean, you can use it for wherever you want to, but you can take it back to the Masters, and it has the same purpose.
Wow, it's kind of nice. Okay.
All right.
That's all I.
All right, Jim, you ready?
Yeah.
We saw Jenna Sims, Brooks Koepka's wife. She was doing a photo shoot. I will say 20 feet away from us in the grandstands on 14. And we can all confirm that she used the picture that she took in those grandstands on her personal socials. So we witnessed one of these pictures being taken. She pops into the grandstands, and I'm like, why do I recognize her? No idea. And for those who don't know who Jenna Sims is, Brooks Koepka's wife, she's also like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. So like somebody that you're gonna recognize coming through because one, she had like a bit of an entourage with her, people with like legit cameras and a security detail. So even funnier is that 10 to 15 minutes before she came in the stands, Hugh and Keith were talking about Brooks Koepka, and Keith said, "I think his wife's not as attractive. I think she's kind of like fake and plasticky." 15 minutes later, she pops up in the stands. Keith has to eat his words because now he wants to try to get a picture with her.
I bet he does.
So, I believe there are two pictures that we have. Keith photobombed her in the back of a selfie, and I think Hugh got one as she was walking like down, like walking across the stands, I should say. But I can confirm that we saw the picture that she took mere feet away from us into her social account. So, Jim, you wanted to hear about that. I didn't know if you wanted other details.
That's exactly what I needed.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
All right. I just told you we made our way back to our chairs, got in those. We get to see Bernard Langer finish up. It's his last Masters. He had his kid caddying for him that day, so that was pretty cool. We walked about 10-ish miles. We calculated throughout the day because remember, no phones, but Keith had a fit watch or something that was counting steps, and we just made some calculations and figured that we walked about 10-ish miles throughout the day. While there were no phones, they did have phone banks, so you could legitimately call people if you had their number written down from the Masters, which people do.
You didn't call me, Muff.
And Keith did. I didn't call anybody. I called 0 people.
I'm kind of hurt.
One, it was going to come up as spam, so you probably wouldn't have answered it.
I would have answered it, Muff. I answered all my spam calls this week.
Call.
So I most definitely would have answered it.
So what did you win?
Yeah, Jim, what'd you win?
Not a thing. But I would have answered it.
It was a spam call. Keith called his dad, who didn't pick up, and later on found out because it was a spam call, so he didn't pick it up.
I mean, you could have left me a voicemail from the Masters, Muff. We could have been playing it on the show.
We could have, but I was not wasting time.
Fair enough.
Pimento cheese sandwiches, ice cream sandwiches, and beers on my mind. Not calling any of you, if we're being totally honest. About 50,000 people that were there. We did some additional calculations and learned that about a 0.5% chance to secure an opportunity purchase ticket. So about 4 million people apply for tickets every year.
What's crazy to me is my stepbrother was also got a practice round ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that I know 2 people that got tickets and there's that kind of chance is wild.
You too can apply, Jim.
No, thank you. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm good.
You can sell your tickets on the secondary market.
Oh, that's true.
There are actually people that said they were going to be there all week, and it's not because they won tickets for every day, Jim.
Huh. All right. Well, maybe I will put my name in the ring.
They probably paid a pretty penny for it, but those are the people that probably don't care.
That's true. All right. Fair enough.
All right. That was the day. We sat down, walked out, got another sandwich, made our trip back to the hotel.
Did you still at one of the places in the binder?
Did we what?
Eat dinner at one of the places from the binder?
No, we found other places.
Do you still have the binder?
100%. I have the binder. It's still in my truck, and I saved the document all the same.
Could you take a picture and put it? Can you please take a picture of the binder and put it on our socials?
I will take a picture of the binder with the ticket in the binder.
That would be awesome.
It says Master's Guide.
Please. Our fans deserve it.
Do they? Keith already did it. Alex saw it.
We need another one on our socials.
Alex said, "You said it made your heart happy." Alex is gone.
He's gone. At this point, I'm not even sure he's a full-blown participant.
All right. We good?
Yeah, let's get to the Masters. The real show.
Masters. A round by round, blow by blow. Justin Rose came out hot on day 1, shooting a 7-under round and retained that lead after round 2. But with more people nipping on his heels, including Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, and Shane Lowry, he took a bit of a back seat. going into the weekend. Notables not to make the cut included Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka, Adam Scott, Cam Smith, Billy Horschel, Phil Mickelson, and Will Zalatoris. After round 3, the stage we thought was set for Bryson and Rory to face off in the final pairing, the final group on Sunday at the Masters, with each of them being their tournament to lose, and one of them lose it they did. We did see on Saturday something very specific to the Masters occur, as there were an odd number of golfers that made the cut to the weekend. So Augusta National member Michael McDermott got to play with professional Tom Kim.
I feel bad even talking about it. He doesn't want to be known.
It's like this odd thing that they do. This is not the first time it's happened.
Yeah, it's like the 8th, 9th, or 10th time it happened.
Right.
When they have an odd number of people make it, they do a filler with a guy who's the course best golfer.
Right, a member that's not like the pro, but I believe is just one of the really good golfers, yeah.
And that's cool, but this guy wants no notoriety. He'd this particular one.
Well, there are stories about somebody in the past who had this distinction actually
and beat people.
Yeah, I think thrown it in people's faces at times. So
but
I feel
this
like he's
guy
trying
is
to be on the backside of it. Nah, listen, even if I beat them, please don't even talk about me.
Yeah, don't talk about me. So I feel bad talking about him on the show because he's humble. I like him. So good on him.
Do we know how he did?
No, I don't think they, unless somebody's really tracking.
Well, the one guy said he's a baller.
Yeah.
I don't know which golfer said it, but they asked him how good is he, and they were like, he's a baller. So he must be good.
They don't keep his score officially. But
right.
If somebody's walking with them the whole time, they can, keep it.
Yeah.
So he's just another body in there because they play in twos. Kind of keeps the flow of the match and the game going. So we get to the final round. I believe we were all following this to some degree today.
Yeah, we watched the whole thing.
An absolute cinematic experience as Rory McIlroy experiences all the ups and downs, with he and Justin Rose comes back into the fold on Sunday, who shot a Sunday 66, ultimately leaving Bryson and the rest of the field, I'm not going to say in the dust, but definitely in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Rory, after all of his ups and downs throughout the day, through Jim saying he was toast after the first hole, to coming back.
I think the second hole.
Was it the second hole?
Second hole, yeah.
He ups and downs, in and out of the water, makes some questionable decisions, comes to the 18th hole with a one-shot lead. Gets it in the fairway. He's about 120, 125 yards away. Leaks his second shot into the right bunker. Hits a decent bunker shot. He's about 6-ish feet away. Ultimately misses that putt, and we now have a playoff between Rory and Justin Rose.
If Alec was here, he would say, playoff!
They play 18 again, where Rory puts it in almost the exact same position that he did on his tee ball on 18 as he did in the final round. Only this time, he puts it to 2 feet. Justin Rose is about 10 to 12 feet away. Rose barely misses his putt. Rory taps it in, like Happy Gilmore, to become only the 6th golfer in PGA history to accomplish the career Grand Slam, winning all 4 majors.
Yeah, I think I have some questions. You were there, but I also have some questions specifically for today. The speed of the course, on the fairways and the greens, it seemed like if you got it on the green, you might as well figure the ball's going to roll. It's not going to stick, it's going to roll. And those guys had it figured out, if I drop it here, I'm going to get an extra 3 feet.
Yep.
It was just determined. It was going to roll if I hit the green.
You cannot tell as much. You can't tell as much, definitely not as much, in TV, how much undulation, hills, and everything are those greens. That 18th green that you saw when they were bringing it back towards the front, there is a significant slope. I will say probably 4 to 5 feet of slope from the back to the front of that green with a couple ledges.
And so I knew you were going to say that. I kind of figured. Which brings me to the bunkers.
Yes.
on TV, they look like mountains in some of them. Like if you get in there, you're climbing a hill.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that in person, it would then be bigger.
They also they also look very deep. I think some of that is some camera tricks at times, but like the first hole, that bunker that Bryson got in, correct?
Yeah.
Or Rory got in the first, that one is death. Like if you're in there, you are no hope for the green. You're just hoping to get it out of there and advance it as far as you can. They are most of them are larger bunkers, but I wouldn't call them pot bunkers as much as we think about when we think of like links golf in England, Ireland, Scotland, and all of that. So they're deep, but they are large enough and sloped enough that you can usually get them out of there.
Okay, so for this last round of Rory,
Mm-hmm.
and I would dare say Rose, I didn't do a lot of covering of Rose, they seemed to know what they were like, where they were going at all times. Like there was not a moment at this course where they felt like they were, from a shot perspective, out of control. Like they knew this is where I'm going to go. This is where I'm going to put the ball. If something went awry, it was on the swing. And I hit the ground. I hit the dirt. It seemed like they were very much in control of the wheel.
It's a placement course.
Right.
You have to be in position to be able to score.
So then, and this is where it made this whole day of me watching golf like anxiety ridden. Today felt like it was very mental.
Yes.
Like that's what this. I didn't watch. I watched a sport, but it felt like it was more of a. I'm watching
warfare.
which one of them. Or one of them's going to break and it's over.
Yeah.
And that went from the big guy and Rory. It went from Rory and Rose. It went from the other guys.
Yeah.
Like Scotty. Like you could just tell, like, buddy, today's not your day. Day. I'm saying the word day, but Day,
Jason
the golfer.
Day. Yeah.
It looked like he was trying, but like every time he'd get going, he would peter out. It just seemed like these guys, it was a mental kind of thing at the Masters.
It is, because you have to be on for every shot, right? You have to, if you miss your spot, it's a penalty. Like maybe not penalty, like you're out of bounds penalty, but
You're hurting yourself.
Right. You're gonna have to you have to make a miraculous shot to get back on schedule.
So, from somebody, and this is why I wanted your thing first, from somebody who's been there, and you did exactly what I wanted you to do, which was label it as Disneyland and make it a magical thing, and the pictures on TV, and you got John Legend singing, and yada, yada, yada. It's told to us as general public that it's some magical, beautiful, lovely place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the guys who are hitting the ball are literally like on the brink of mental breakdown throughout the entire thing. The juxtaposition between here I am and what should be Disneyland of golf. The surroundings are amazing and beautiful, but I have thousands of people within arm shot of me breaking my club over their skulls when I miss a shot. And this is for like an opportunity of a lifetime. And one shot could mess the whole thing up.
Yep.
One shot and I got the guy behind me nipping at my damn heels. Rory's case, I was 4 over all these motherfuckers, and now I'm back to even, or losing my lead. Like, what is that like? It's like staring at the Mona Lisa is like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And then having a gun to my head while I stare at it, right?
I mean, in some ways, yes.
That's
right?
wild to me.
It's a hell of an analogy, Jim.
But that's what it is.
Except for the observer to the Mona Lisa, it would be like you have to replicate the Mona Lisa. You're an established
even better
painter, and somebody tells you have to replicate the Mona Lisa, stroke for stroke,
color
for color, with a gun to your head.
And if you
while other people are watching you do this,
right?
Jim could have used a perfect analogy and been, "This is what it's like to be the coach at Ohio State. You have to beat Michigan, and you have to win the national championship every year."
It's just crazy. It's wild to me. and it was hard to watch this round. Like the finals was just like for somebody who has anxiety. Like I was like, no, I would never do this.
Say la vie in the golf world. And major championships obviously add an additional layer of like pressure and anxiety. So,
well, and it also listening to the commentators, like it's taken him 11 years.
right.
He's come up short. He could be a grand champion. He would be one of 6 guys. Like if you imagine if he had to hear that too while he was doing
I was
it.
going to say, he said.
Oh, he knew.
Yeah, but if you heard it
He's
the
hearing
entire
it amazing.
time, like he knows it, but if you, yeah,
Oh, it's back.
it's just wild.
Well, yeah, and imagine like when you're losing that lead, and then in the distance you hear the roars for Justin Rose, and you're like, "Oh
Thank
man!"
you.
And that's also one of the things, especially in that back nine where I said we focused our time. There is a spot, like there are locations there where you can easily hear like these eruptions of cheers over a span of like 7 or 8 holes. Like it's not like you're secluded, people
Yeah.
are cheering and you can't hear it. You can hear these things on like 16, that par 3 over like that goes over the water, blah blah blah. Like we were at like 10 and you could hear that, which means you could easily hear that at like 7, 8, going up 9, right? You could hear people cheering, and this was just for people that were skipping over to the water, not people on a Sunday at the Masters that made like a shot that put them in contention to win. So like you can easily hear all of that.
And you have Rory, but then you have like Rose sitting there and just hearing like Rory, Rory.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
You know, and
Right, but he was far enough away. I mean, he still probably heard that, but remember, he was also he shot a 66. Like he was the one that had some of those eruptions happening. He was just far enough away from Rory that Rory probably wasn't until those last 4 or 5 holes didn't have him in his his front view of like, oh,
I
this
just
is
mean like
somebody I
going
should
into
be
the
worried about
playoffs
right
and
now.
stuff, like hearing everyone chant for the other night. But he even made a comment though, after like when they interviewed him, and he was like, yeah, today he's like, I'm really happy for Rory. He's like, obviously I wanted to be the bad guy today. Like I think he knew like no one's rooting for me.
I think the other thing I want to ask Muff is, at what point when you're golfing with somebody who starts shitting the bed, does it mess with you? Like I understand, oh, we're gonna watch Bryson's read on the hole, and we're gonna watch him putt, and like that's gonna help me. But also, like Bryson, you've tanked 3 balls in the water. Like, can you just not suck? Like, I don't care if you hit par, but can you not suck because you're kind of bringing me down? Like,
so it's been long enough since I've been in competition, like in that way. But I can remember from my high school days, and maybe even whenever I was just more competitive in my playing, where I cared to be competitive, I should say. Where there are times that if somebody's not playing well and you're playing normal and maybe a little bit better than your average, it does bring you down a bit because you're not competing against, you're competing against yourself, which is first and foremost what golfers say. Like you always have to be competing against yourself, because if you're not, you can't rely on that other person or persons with you to pull you along. But if you have somebody like that's pulling you along, that they're playing well or they're playing, at least average, at least it doesn't create a distraction for you, right? And I
felt like the first 2 holes, Rory shit the bed, and Bryson's just slamming the ball, and you're like, all right, chase him. And then it like flipped, and it was like, okay, this is going to be a match. And then like Bryson fell apart, and it was like, okay, this is starting to suck. And then that water shot happened, and it almost was like Rory looked at him like, where'd you go? Like, if you could just not hit in the water, like just keep up, because you're harshing my mellow, man. Like,
it definitely was.
Like, just
Similar
keep up
run.
with me. Because the big ball's what they were doing there, right?
I mean, they're 2 big hitters, yeah, 100%.
And it just wasn't happening there at the end.
That's it.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, this was one of the more exciting and up and down Masters. They did increase the total purse to $21 million this year. Up $3.6 million from last year, with the winner taking $4.2 million. So.
I think it was fun to watch with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
because Tessa is always big on who we cheering for, who do we not want to win, and I was like, buddy, I don't care. Like, I'm just
Who do you
watching
want?
good golf. Like, I don't care.
Who did she end up with?
Nobody. Like, I finally banged it home that, like, we're just watching for what happens. She's like, okay. I was like, yeah, that's it. We just want to see what happens. So, it was fun.
All right. So, any final questions, final takeaways before we get into basketball?
Do we have to talk about basketball?
We do.
Oh.
We do have to talk about the national championships, Jim. Those did happen.
Okay.
Would you go back again?
100%. If I win next year, I'm back.
With his
He
binder.
said any other questions?
Max out my tickets. Done. 4, because you can. I believe it's 4 for every practice round. You can purchase up to 4, and you can purchase up to 2 for actual competitive rounds for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, when you put in your lottery submission, you can put in for every day, max number, whatever you want. You could literally put in 1 for each day or 1 for one day, but there's no reason not to try to max it out. You just only can win one day's worth. You can't win multiple days in 1 year. So you get drawn for a day, and then you get to purchase up to whatever the max number of tickets you put on your application was. So yeah, when that time comes around, I'll let you all know so you can get in there. And I know how much they cost, so don't screw me. All right, in the March Madness, we're going to get to the semifinals quickly, and then the final, the championship game in the men's and the women's. On the men's side in the semifinals, we had Duke with the ultimate choke job against Houston, blowing it was Alex a 6-point lead with about 30 seconds left. Bingo. We obviously then get no title for Cooper Flag. Duke became the first team in NCAA tourney history to lose a game in which they had a higher field goal percentage, more free throw attempts, more assists, fewer turnovers, and more steals. Teams had been 335-0 prior. So, all-time choke job for Duke. That's a big one. Florida took care of Auburn, overcoming an 8-point halftime deficit thanks to another big game by Walter Clayton Jr. And in the championship game, the theme again, a little bit of a lake choke job, this time from Houston as Florida comes back in the final minutes to take the championship. There were some...
I went to bed
Go ahead,
thinking
Alex.
Houston had made it. Like, I can all of a sudden fall asleep and woke up and whatever and looked at my phone. I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, remember, this was the night before I went to the Masters, so I was watching it because I was too excited, so I did not go to sleep. Some after the game had some harsh opinions of the officiating, as there were less than 5 total foul calls in the first half and over 20 in the second half. People think that the officials got in the way of the game, maybe not that it dictated the outcome, but that they got a little too involved in the second half. And on the men's side, congrats to loyal listener Tim for winning the men's tourney bracket challenge. Sam, Tim's won pretty much everything we have at this point, so I think it's time for a T-shirt.
Okay.
I'll draft up something. Maybe it'll be SSJM Tourney Challenge winner.
Love that.
So we'll go from there.
Love that.
So we'll figure it out. On the women's side, the Huskies, UConn, reassert their dominance, and Paige Beckers continues to make her case as one of the best women's players of recent note. I'm not going to go all-time just yet, but definitely an all-time great in the college basketball world. I didn't get a chance to watch this game.
You know what I mean? Like, so close to her. If she had a few years separation from that, I think it would be even more noticeable how good she was.
Right. And on the women's side, Tourney Bracket Challenge, one of our random brackets was the winner. Thanks for coming out, folks. You lost to random. It was not fully random. It was like weighted random. But it still was the winner. And Alex, our betting recaps. Do I need to say it, Alex?
Snuck just under the money, so I was down 0.112 units for the entire tournament, which honestly isn't terrible when you think about how many games are.
It's over 100 games
really,
back.
should I be disappointed?
Well, not over 100, is it? 32, 16. No, it's like 70 something. Yeah. I was also down for the whole tournament, 2.684 units, but I am totally okay with that because after round one, I was down 11 units, so I crawled back. Crawled back on that one.
You've been if
I just not sucked terribly in round one. Yeah. So, I'm okay with that after round one. So we'll get on that again next year. Any other thoughts on basketball? College basketball? Jim, Nate?
Glad it's over. Bring on spring.
Didn't watch a game.
Okie dokie. In the NFL, Geno Smith signed a 2-year, $85.5 million extension, $66.5 guaranteed with the Raiders after he signed with them initially. Let's go Mountaineers.
Woo!
Let's go drinking beers.
That's it. Alex, you feel good about this? You gonna be a Raiders fan?
I'm definitely gonna be a Raiders fan. I'll be a Geno Smith supporter. I will hope that he does well, but I will be a Raiders fan. I was much more excited to the Seahawks.
All right. The Cardinals make Trey McBride the highest paid tight end in history with a 4-year, $76 million contract, 43 of it guaranteed, outpacing Travis Kelce by almost $2 million a year. How do we feel about this contract? It was a bit preemptive on the tight end salary range. Nate?
Yeah, he really had, even if you ask fantasy owners, he had a really down year. I mean, he had one pretty solid year 2 years ago, so this contract signing really surprised me as part of the dollar amount, but anymore you just see contracts go up, 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 so it's a good day to be a tight end in this market.
%. Jim, feel any way about this?
Yeah, I agree with Nate.
Alex? Outpacing Travis Kelce by $2 million a year. I understand Travis Kelce's on the backside of his career, but that seems a bit much for, as Nate said, somebody that's really only had one solid season, breakout season 2 years ago. Yes. The Patriots sent quarterback Joe Milton in a 7th-round pick to the Cowboys for a 5th-round pick, essentially at this point making Milton Dak Prescott's backup since Cooper Rush is now with the Ravens. How quickly do we think we see Joe Milton in Dallas, if at all?
I think it just depends if Dak gets hurt again.
Which Lord knows that's a possibility.
We'll see. Do you think this was a good move for them to move on from Cooper Rush?
Yeah, because I feel like Dak's style fits them. So if Dak were to go down again, I feel like Milton could just be that heir to the throne there. I mean, he plays kind of the same way with physicality, runs the ball a little bit. Where Cooper Rush, you were just getting a guy that was just going to really be a pocket passer.
Joe Flacco has signed with the Browns, returning to the Browns after his comeback player of the year season 2 years ago.
And the people in Cleveland rejoice.
Did they rejoice?
They were pumped.
You have the Cleveland fans around you, Jim. We're excited.
They were, yep.
That's excited to get a 40-year-old quarterback.
Something exciting.
Yeah, they're happy.
Yeah. They got the number 2 overall pick in the draft in a couple weeks. They still got some excitement in it.
Silly.
Excited about that, Jim?
Cleveland.
Cleveland it is. The Steelers still only have Mason Rudolph on the roster. Speculation now, Jim, that they're looking at maybe getting Jackson Dart in the first round.
I think that would be silly.
By whom?
I think Steelers? If you didn't learn your lesson with Kenny Pickett, then you don't want that quarterback.
You don't have faith in Jackson Dart?
I do, but not in Steeler country. You guys don't like those drafting quarterback moves. Pick up somebody.
Just don't draft Jackson Dart. I feel like that's the only no-go in Jim's list right now.
I feel like Steelers have more needs than to fill the quarterback in the first round.
I don't know, Nate.
I mean,
Seems like a pretty glaring role.
Cam Hayward's not getting any younger on the defensive interior line.
I don't disagree with that, but I feel like quarterback's a pretty glaring need.
I think offensive line is too, and another receiver is as well.
I feel better about the offensive line. Receiver, we got DK and George. That's okay. Got Fryermuth.
I think Will Howard of Pittsburgh. If we're gonna draft him, get him.
Will Howard's not a first-round pick. Will Howard's going
That's
round
what I
2 or
mean.
3.
Go get him in the lower round.
Yeah, you can get him in a lower round. You can get Jalen Milroe in a later round.
We'll see. Jackson Dart comes to Pittsburgh, Jim. You gonna no longer be a Jackson Dart fan?
I remember what I thought about Jackson Dart at the end of the season.
You're
first
right.
of all,
You're right. You had some strong opinions of him at the end of the season.
and I don't think he's any different than Kenny Pickett. I really don't.
All right. We'll see. Oh, we don't have much longer. We have, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Draft extravaganza coming up. All right, in the college football world, in the offseason, former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava
Show me the money.
is out. Skipped practice with reports indicating it was amid NIL contract discussions. And then Josh Heupel said, you are no longer with the team, sir. And Nico is in the transfer portal. Additional reports have come out.
Have we confirmed that report? Because I see.
I'm not going to say it's been confirmed. I'm saying
Thank you.
Indicate that Dan Lanning may have contacted Heupel to let him know that Nico was on the lookout for a better situation, potentially a better deal.
Yeah.
So, how do we feel about this? And how much do we expect this to continue to happen? Or do we think that coaches are going to take a stand against this contract seeking at this level?
I don't think this will be a normal thing. And I think this is the warning shot across the bow to the rest of to the players that, like, look, high profile coaches and the gold standard programs aren't going to take this shit. Like,
yeah, I love that Josh Heupel did this.
Yeah. Like, you were getting 2, you were asking for 4, and the Ohio State Tennessee game, what did you do that warranted you getting double?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, dog. Like, you're not Peyton Manning. You're good, but you ain't transferred to Oregon to get double the money good. And then there's like, he could go to Colorado or Ohio State, or I tell you what, if Ryan Day picks him up, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I feel it's gonna be awkward for whatever school does take him.
Oh yeah, how can you trust him?
Well, what kind of message does that send to your program?
Yeah.
Hey, Tennessee, they made the college football playoff. He had a decent year, and then he whined for more money. Tennessee told him no, and he said, "All right, I'm gonna leave." And then, now welcome to this program.
Well, he was asking for 4 at Tennessee. You know, we paid him 4 to get him.
Yeah.
Early indications I saw, they said they think he's going to go to like UCLA or USC.
Yeah, I heard UCLA too.
This puts Tennessee in a spot too, right? He's going to be their starter.
I think Tennessee will pick up somebody. Like, I don't think Tennessee's
That's what I'm
going to be
saying.
hurting.
Who's left?
Ohio State's going to lose somebody, and they got a good quarterback. I think there's going to be.
When's the portal closed?
Yeah, this week it should be open.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be quick.
They'll pick up somebody. Tennessee has nothing to worry about. And I think good riddance. Like, they're better off this way. So good on them. I
hope we don't see more of this, because this would just make college football less interesting to watch. Even to me, the offseason is going to be filled with, I don't want to talk about this because this is just becoming outrageous.
I think the Blue Bloods will still be the Blue Bloods.
What stops it is Tennessee making this move to say no and get out.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, cover your ears, Alex. I think teams like West Virginia, Purdue, things like that, if they stay true to themselves, will end up rising up. And the teams that buy into this bullshit will end up falling down.
Fingers crossed.
I think the culture will shift. I think Rich Rod won't a guy like Rich Rod who doesn't play into this game, and Dan Lanning and, people like that, their programs will succeed and it'll pay off.
Or put this next part in.
I did.
Go ahead.
Former LSU receiver Kyron Lacey was found dead Saturday night in Houston. An LSU official confirmed to ESPN on Sunday. The cause of death has not been officially confirmed. And it's buzzing right now as we're on the air. Lacey was accused of causing a car crash that killed a 78-year-old man on December 17th and fleeing the scene without rendering aid or calling authorities. On January 12th, he turned himself in, was jailed, and then released on $151K bail. Lacey declared for the draft on December 19th, 2 days after the crash, projected to be a first-round pick, but he has died. He died yesterday, Saturday, as we're recording on Sunday. Again, the cause of death has not been confirmed. His father, allegedly, because it's not been confirmed that it is his father, indicates that he died by his own hand. The agent also has put out a tweet tonight that indicates that could be the case. The agent is also saying that, like, the pressure of the media not giving him a fair shake in terms of judging him guilty before innocent, and the pressure may have been too much, along with, him declaring for the draft and this ruining his draft stock. Obviously, like, we don't know why. We don't know the cause. We're not going to conjecture, but this is the story, and it's live, and it's a big deal on all other media outlets and Twitter, and I just thought that we should put this out there, that this is probably going to take the airways for a minute and probably going to be talked about going into the draft. So this is a thing.
Right. Colorado had their showcase for draft prospects.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I was interested in seeing some of it, and I saw a couple clips. Not know how handpicked these were, of Dion actually, like, pulling certain. I don't know if they were scouts. I don't know if they were. It seemed like somebody was trying to show the guys how to run, and Dion, like, saying, "Get out of there! Like, this is their thing. You're not here to, like, give them form lessons on running their 40. We just want them to show out and do what they got to do."
Yeah, I did hear you got into it with some people.
Yeah, which, I mean, if it's their event, I mean, if people were just popping in to try to get their 2 minutes of, not gonna say of fame, but within all of this, like, let them do what they're gonna do. It's either gonna be good for them or bad for them, and let the chips fall where they may.
I agree with that point, but I also think that, like, it is, when it comes to his kid, how much Alonzo Ball-esque are we going to have Dion when it comes to Shador?
I don't even think it was with his kid that I saw. It was just,
I heard, like, reports
random.
that it is.
With his
it
kid?
was some
Okay.
of it was his kid.
Okay.
So
I just thought, bring it up, Alex. See what Alex thought.
I don't think he's full go participating today.
Here? What? No.
See, he's listening.
Your audio is also not very heavy, Alex, so it's tough to hear you at times.
Okay. No,
Kind
as
of.
far as Dion goes, I actually kind of agree with the whole Lonzo Ball situation. Like, at what point are you like, hey, you're following your kid? Like, at what point do you let your kid just do his own thing? I don't know. It starts to get kind of annoying to hear about, like you're not your own person, because we are always talking about, like, Shador being Dion's son. Like, I would be kind of annoyed. Like, I want to be able to make my own name and not just be Dion's son. So,
Yeah, I think that's only going to deter teams from
like,
drafting
you feel like you
Shador
have to
and
put up
Shiloh.
with him too.
Wait,
Yeah,
Shiloh,
like,
Shiloh's in the draft?
I'm assuming he is.
We wouldn't know. That was why I made that comment. Like,
You're right.
we have no idea.
Well, I wouldn't want
He's
to have
not
to
the
deal
favorite.
with, like, okay, if I don't want to piss off
Not the
Dion, and then
favorite.
that'd be a whole thing. So I'm just not draft shooter because it's not worth that.
Right.
Like walking on shells. So I do think it actually hurts him more than helps him.
Yep.
He is in the draft class. Shiloh is.
We have no idea.
We have spring exhibitions. I don't even call it games because I don't know who's calling it a game and what words we're using at any point. But Jim has an Ohio State update.
Yeah, I watched the spring game. Lincoln Keenholz had some stats. Julian Sand had some stats. Freshman Trevor St. Clair had some stats. But the obvious winner at quarterback for, at least in my opinion, for Ohio State was Julian Sand. He looked the most comfortable. That was the big news for the quarterback at Ohio State. The best part, in my opinion, was a cornerback, Aaron Scott Jr., and freshman, probably the next Jeremiah Smith, Quincy Porter, got into it. We're throwing punches. That was cool. That got some dogs on us finally. That was nice. But it ended quickly. But there were punches, and that's cool.
With each other, and you think that's a good thing. Okay.
Yes, please.
Did they have their helmets on?
They did.
Nate?
Not only their helmets, but they had like the concussion helmets on top of their helmets.
Oh, so they had the Guardian caps on.
Yeah.
Now, Jim, are they dogs if they did this if they were punching Guardian cap helmets?
I mean, I'm still okay with it. Message
better that it happened than it didn't happen in your mind?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
I think a wrinkle that Hartline's throwing in there and utilizing the Purdue transfer tight end Max Clare, that was cool because that does. We haven't.
What's the wrinkle?
He's going to be a receiving tight end, which we don't typically. That's not what we're known for. That's a Penn State thing. And I don't know how you cover all of the receivers and now a tight end. That's going to be fun to watch. And then Mylan Graham he was fantastic. So now you're looking at like 5-6 deep in receivers for Ohio State. It is wide receiver U. I don't care what anybody says. Fight me. Prove me wrong.
Can we have a Guardian cap on while we fight?
Sure, I'm cool with that. Whatever. I'm here for player safety.
What about like a red mesh practice?
Sorry,
Yeah. No. So when we lose to Michigan again, we'll be safe.
We'll be safe.
I'm still bitter. And then the running backs, there were a lot of great running backs there.
Hilarious. You're talking about the spring game, and we can't not bring up Michigan.
No, we can't. Damn it. No.
This is like looking forward to the future. It's like, no, we can't not talk about this. It's not far enough away.
No.
You were closer to the start of the next season than you are from that game right now.
I don't give a fuck. Anyway, running backs, Bo Jackson, Sam Williams-Dixon, C.J. Donaldson? Yeah. All got reps.
Well, yeah, Alex doesn't want to hear you talk about CJ.
I'm sorry, bud. And then all behind James Peoples, going to be great. And then, of course, you have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. So there's a lot of weapons on offense. Let's not talk about defense because it took them a whole quarter to warm up. Thank you, Matt Patricia.
So you're not excited about defense again?
No, because you stole our fucking coordinator.
You didn't want him.
Apparently not, Ryan Day.
You didn't want him.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm going to be a realist this year. I'm just going to be real. Hey, you know what? I didn't say shit about WVU.
Oh, that's a blatant lie.
Today, I've been very nice.
One day. We haven't talked about him aside from you stealing CJ Donaldson.
And I didn't even bring that up.
Believe it when I see it. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'll believe it when I see it.
There's your Ohio State off-season report as promised.
Let's move on to other interesting news in sports.
Interesting news in sports.
Starting with NASCAR.
Yeah?
Lamar Jackson This is NASCAR with a football twist. Lamar Jackson is taking legal action against Dale Earnhardt Jr. over the trademark of number 8. Jackson is also involved in a similar legal action with Troy Aikman.
Let's clarify. Hold on. Let's clarify this, because you and everybody else are doing it like the general public. So there's trademarks on numbers. Okay? And it's all about the stylization of the number.
Yes.
And of course, the number 8, when you think the number 8, you think Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Or Kyle Ripken.
Hold on. You're right. But I'm talking about the stylization of the number 8. Okay? Teresa Earnhardt, Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s wife, had the trademarks for the number 3, like Dale's, and the number 8, like...
Not the, just number 8.
No, when I'm talking about the trademark, I have to use the number 8 so that you understand.
Ohio State for that?
Motherfuckers, can you just let me get through it? So when you see the 8 that was on the Bud car, and you see the 3 that's the Intimidator, Teresa Earnhardt owned those.
Mm-hmm.
She gave them both up. Okay?
She gave them both up, or did the 3 laps, or was it just...
Yeah, both laps. She wasn't going to buy them again.
Okay, got it.
Dale bought those 2 numbers and a stylization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? To market them himself.
Right.
He trademarked those. Lamar said, wait a minute, on the number 8, but not the Bud 8. And everybody freaked out. Turns out that Junior Motorsports had a trademark on a stylization of the 8 for their car they were running in the lower league. Okay. So when Lamar comes out and goes against Dale Earnhardt Jr. For an 8, everybody was like, Lamar, get the fuck out of here. Dale Jr.'s 8 was way before you. Correct, for Bud number 8.
Right.
When Dale saw it, he even was like, what? And then looked into what Lamar was disputing and went, oh yeah, we're not using that 8 ever again. We have the Bud 8. You can have that 8. So that's been settled. The Troy Aikman situation, I have no idea. But the Dale 8 is over.
It's a number.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm unsure about the Troy 8. I just saw that as like an aside.
Right.
Like the headline was the Dale 8.
Now, Alex, you're in deep water when you go into it's a number. I agree with you 1,000% until you start talking NASCAR, and it's not just a number. The tilt, the font,
no, I get that, but what does Lamar Jackson want about that? That's what I don't understand. And I know you're saying it's a different age.
Marketability.
But to me, I'm never going to look at that. Even if you put that on a Lamar Jackson jersey, I'll be like, why did Lamar Jackson do a Dale Earnhardt style jersey?
Well, here's the thing: is I don't think it's on the jerseys because the NFL owns the jerseys. This is probably like some private marketing
necklaces.
Yes.
He did pick that one.
That particular one at the particular time.
I'm saying pick a different one that Dale Earnhardt doesn't own.
He picked it before Dale, therefore he wins.
So you're saying
in this particular situation,
the lower level car or whatever.
Yeah, he picked it before Dale. He wins. I don't disagree, but when NASCAR numbers are disputed, it's like life and death.
I don't get the Lamar Jackson thing.
Well, I think because we associate team sports. I'm not saying NASCAR isn't a team sport, but you associate an individual, right, as the leader of.
Right.
Right. You think of football, you think, well, they all have the same type of font on their jerseys. Why are we fighting over this?
But like if Dale used the lower level car, the Junior Motorsports car, and it took off and got steam, Lamar would lose out millions of dollars.
Right.
And they would just block him out. So he can't, from a intellectual property standpoint, can't give that up.
All right. There we go. In the MMA world, Jim, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Yes. Patty the Batty Pimblett. What goofy name. TKO's Michael Chandler, 3 minutes and 7 seconds into the third round of UFC 314. The interesting thing that I found was McGregor had laid money against his countrymen. And
Are they countrymen?
I
think Patty's from England and McGregor's from Ireland.
Are we sure on that?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, they're still countrymen, right? Yeah, isn't
under the United Kingdom's umbrella?
right?
If you want to go
Still
that way.
countrymen. Get off me. All right. Immediately after win, Patty the Batty called out former lightweight Charles Oliveira, as well as Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje.
Gaethje.
Yeah, that's
all right. Fine. All of them were in attendance. Patty the Batty is in line to get a major fight. Some are even saying Conor.
He doesn't want Conor. He, in fact, said that Conor, I don't know when this was quoted, but it was definitely quoted that he said Conor, not a high-level MMA fighter, high-level entertainer, but not high-level MMA, not skill-wise.
Others, including maybe Dana, are saying that's the draw.
Oh, I'm not going to say that it's not going to get people in the seats.
I mean,
but it may not be
they
the
can
best
have my
fight.
money.
May not be the best fight.
On whose end? Because Conor can't go, or Patty?
I think because Conor.
Patty's not.
What has Conor done?
I think
the past 5 years.
I think from a fighting standpoint, they're about equal.
Aside from potentially cheating on his wife and have a drug problem, according to many,
and beating up an old guy in a bar.
Bingo. So why are we bringing Conor back in? Aside from, I understand the draw, not for the fighter he is, but for the draw he is. That's it.
I'd watch that before a Paul brother fight any day of the week. Take my money.
That's all the Paul brothers are there for too.
Take my money.
We'll see. Now I'm interested to see where the Pimblett story goes.
Yeah.
In hockey, first time in NHL history this postseason that neither the Penguins, Bruins, nor Rangers will be in the playoffs.
In history?
In NHL history, yes.
NHL history.
Wow.
That's some deep water right there in the NHL. This is why
What's
they can't
that? Is that a statement on the league?
A statement on those franchises.
And the Jackets may get in, maybe?
It's possible.
Well, they just shut out the Caps, scored a touchdown, and
Touchdown?
yeah, they got a touchdown and an extra point and shut out
They
Washington.
scored 7 points, Sam.
7-0.
They scored 7 goals.
We're talking about
The numbers.
hockey.
Mm-hmm.
7-0.
Hold on. I don't know who's fucking up. I don't know what's going on. But Sam's calling Nate out about something.
She goes, wait a minute, we're talking about hockey, right?
Because Nate made a touchdown and field goal statement. Or extra point statement.
Well, can you just correct this so Sam's not mind fucked?
I did.
No, I know what he means now, but
I'm proud of her.
at first,
All right, like me too. Well done, Sam.
thank you. I'm not as dumb as I look.
Well, I didn't say that.
In the NBA, before we have a domestic situation, the Nuggets.
Hey.
What?
I would say domestic situation. Speaking of NBA, I mean,
The Nuggets. We don't have any to talk about today. The Nuggets fired head coach Michael Malone, even though he had led them to the franchise's first championship in 2023. He's the franchise's leading the franchise in wins in the head coach role, and they're currently fourth in the West, in position to make the playoffs. They also fired their GM. Nikola Jokic shared that he was not a part of any of these decisions. I feel like this is one NBA superstar that I believe that he was not part of any of the decisions that are happening in a franchise unless it involves horse racing.
He just shows up every day and
Yeah, I don't.
best.
He had nothing to do with that.
I agree. He just shows up, hopes for the best, and lets everyone else make decisions around him. And he's like,
I know nothing.
I play basketball. When season over, get to horse.
I go to horses.
Okay. I just thought that was like, it seems like an odd thing. I don't know what's going on in Denver, but I feel like we're gonna find something out soon. John Morant was fined $75,000 the day after the league spoke to him about an inappropriate hand gesture replicating a gun. He then proceeded the next day to do that and get fined the $75K. Morant is now using a hand grenade celebration until they tell him he can't do that. Almost verbatim what his quote was. How do we feel about the NBA's action, especially knowing that Morant has been a bit of a pickle with guns, social media, and maybe some adult ballets in the past?
Adult ballets?
Think about it.
Oh, adult ballets, thank you.
I think that's what I'll be referring to them as now.
Me too.
It's not. I didn't come up with this. I've heard this elsewhere.
I'm really confused.
That's fine.
Strippers, Sam. Strippers. Adult ballets.
Oh.
Adult ballets.
I like to. Never mind.
Now you know. Do we think 75,000 was warranted? Was this enough? Not enough? How do we feel about John
I mean, they
Morant?
got to do something to calm him down. I mean, fine him short. If you suspend him, you suspend him without pay. I guess. I don't know.
I'm the old guy on the porch per usual.
I mean-
Like they told you not to do it, just quit freaking doing it. I mean, you play basketball every day. First of all, how do you need that many celebrations? Just give a thumbs up and move on with your life. I don't know. Act like you've been there before.
I will say that in the game, the original game when he was warned, there were also multiple other players warned that were doing a similar hand gesture or doing other types of gun gestures
Adult
towards
ballet.
him or in response to him. So others were, I guess, warned, but Morant's the only one the next day that was like,
Well,
okay,
yeah,
I'm going to do it
you're an
again.
idiot.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
He's apparently winning them. All right. Well, now that everyone has adult ballets on the mind, we're going to wrap up this week's episode. Thanks everybody that suffered through the Masters talk. If that was not your most favorite topic of the week, of the day,
Get over it. It was a good. It was a good episode.
I don't
There's
care.
actually an article about your gnomes on Yahoo Sports.
I'm telling you, buddy, it's a thing.
I was kind of disappointed you didn't
If
get
we
one.
did.
It's
I
a
don't
cute
know when
little
they ran
bugger.
out, but it was in front of. Was it the little guy or the big guy?
I don't know. I don't know.
The little ones are probably like a foot-ish tall. The big ones are like 2 feet tall. If that helps.
If
That
we,
was page 1 in the 3-ring binder.
if I win the lottery, I'm taking you, Alex, and Nate, and like Muff's dad.
But you gotta give Muff's dad the binder just for.
He's gonna bring the binder, so we have it.
Well, each individually got one. There wasn't like a shared binder. Everyone got their own.
I'm still
Everyone got
blown
their own.
away you did that to your father.
All right. As a reminder, you can follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
Get the bell on. I'm not sure how we're going to end this episode because I don't want to get in trouble again, but let's make sure that we tell a friend, make a friend.
Wait. I want to go back to that. How many episodes did we get smashed for because of the algorithm?
Are you asking me on the record or off the record?
On the record.
There were 6 in the latest installment of You Done Effed Up.
So for those that have heard our music at the end, apparently we've broken copyright issues. And we apologize, YouTube
I
and
don't think YouTube's the problem, buddy.
podcast land.
There we go.
But
YouTube's definitely not the problem because that does not show up on the YouTube.
hey Lizzo, kiss my ass.